Good morning and a warm welcome to all of you that are joining me on today's live. Welcome to Queen's Curry Kitchen. I am Chef Nupur. I live in Queens. I make curry in my little kitchen. So welcome to all of you that have decided to spend your morning with me. Today is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we usually do what's called a Tuesday Tango, which is actually my favorite because what that entails is we will make one dish, but we will use it 2 times in the week, or we will eat it 2 ways. And today, the dish that I've picked for you is a bell pepper and a potato stir fry. So we're going to get started on that recipe. While this video is on, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat box, or you can message me on my Facebook page, Queen's Curry Kitchen. I live in Queens, which is the most diverse neighborhood in the world. There's about 400 nationalities that live in this tiny borough in New York, and I'm always inspired by the variety of cuisines and foods that I get. But because I'm Indian, I kind of put my Indian twist on everything. All right, so without much further ado, let's get started. I'm going to readjust the camera so you can see what's going on, and I will introduce you to all the ingredients that we will be using for today. Okay, all right, looks like we're in business of some sort. I do have a pan going, and I've set it to high heat. The dish that we're making today is a simple stir fry with bell peppers and potatoes, okay? So we have some basic ingredients that are going to go into here. I have 1 large sliced onion. I have some ginger, julienne, and garlic right here. Just 1 clove of garlic, ginger, julienne. I also have my trusty spice box, which is all of my masalas that I keep in there. So coriander powder, paprika, dried fenugreek leaves, cumin seeds, coriander, more coriander, turmeric, sea salt. If you would like to get a spice box like this, you can check it out on my website. I do sell them loaded and empty, so you can check it out. This is a staple in every Indian household. We're also going to use good old tomato puree, only because it's winter and tomatoes right now don't have that much color or flavor, so I tend to use a lot of purees in this season. I'm going to make this dish in vegetable oil, but you can use coconut oil or olive oil, whatever your preference is, okay? So this pan is on high heat. A little bit of oil going in. I've tried to take a bigger pan just so that you'll be able to see everything really well. Okay, and you'll see that when there's some shimmering action that you see in the oil, that means your oil is nice and hot. And the first thing that we do is we're going to pop some cumin seeds into it. This is a staple North Indian tempering that we do for most vegetable stir fries, and you can totally follow this. Okay, so this goes in. I've taken about 4 small potatoes and I've cut it into small dices. These are about 4 bell peppers that I've cut. And you can use red, yellow, green, but I feel like in the stir fry, the green is the one that gives you the most flavor. As soon as the cumin seeds turn aromatic, we're going to put in the 1 clove of garlic and some ginger julienne. When you fry the ginger julienne, it really gives a nice aroma without it having a nasty bite that comes between your teeth. So try to give it a nice stir and make it into crispy juliennes while you do that. Now I will also be using a pre-made spice blend, which is from my line of spices. This is the stir fry curry blend, and basically what it does is you can easily replicate it at home. It has coriander powder, cumin powder, and fennel. So fennel seeds, cumin seeds, and coriander seeds with a little bit of chickpea flour, all roasted and ground together. But of course, if you don't want to do the math or the rocket science, you can always order this from my website. Recipes on the back makes it super easy. You don't have to measure anything. You don't have to think. Just add salt. Okay, so you can see that ginger is crisping up really nicely. You know what, I'm going to actually move this just a little so the light will. Yep, okay. Is that better? Yeah. All right, and at this point, I'm going to add my sliced onion. This was a huge onion, about this big, and this is a white onion. So a lot of people usually ask, how do we know if you want to use a red onion or white onion? So if you're making a curry, like a korma, or something that needs to have a deep, rich flavor and also needs to be sweet, go with the red onion because it's going to make your curry more brown and deep in color. It caramelizes deeper. And if you just want like a light, aromatic, oniony flavor without having an overbearing darkness to your dish, then you can stick with white onion. So that's kind of like how you decide what you want as the final presentation and then work it backwards, okay? So we'll keep sauteing this for a minute. And you can serve this with rotis, you can serve this with bread. The reason I make a lot of this is because I like to use it two ways. So I'm going to use it with rotis, I'm going to serve it with the Indian flatbread on Monday, and then I'm going to use the same thing as a sandwich filling. And I've always talked about using things two ways, and Tuesdays, that's what I try to do. That's what I call Tango Tuesdays. So if you remember last week, we made a cabbage and mixed vegetable stir fry, and then we used it to make a pilau. We had the leftover vegetables zucchini. That's what we had, and we made a pilau out of it, and we served it just as it is as a vegetable. So today we've chosen this. So just try to use things that are in your fridge or things that will stay well. And if you can use it on Tuesday, you can again bring it back on Thursday and use the same thing as a sandwich filling, and it tastes really, really good with a grilled sandwich. You can throw in a slice of cheese if you do dairy, and it really makes for nice afternoon lunch with a cup of soup or what have you. So these potatoes, you can use Eastern, Idaho, doesn't matter. I've used Idaho, and since I was prepping beforehand, I've actually soaked it in some water so that they don't become oxidized. I just have to wait for the onion to caramelize a little bit. This is a really huge pan. I think the circumference of this pan is even wider than the size of the plate underneath this. I can't tell you how aromatic it smells over here with the cumin, with the ginger, with the garlic, and the onions, of course, slowly releasing the aroma. It smells really brilliant. If you do dairy, you can do the same dish with paneer, which is the Indian cheese. You can do the same thing with tofu. I just love the versatility of bell peppers, whether it's red, yellow, green, whatever it is. It just has, you can use it in a softer version. You can use it when you're boiling or stewing something, and it just imparts a nice aroma to your dish, especially for vegetarian or vegan dishes, because you can't use any chicken bouillon or whatever. It just adds a nice aroma to it. And also, when you use the colored peppers, they add a nice spark of bright colors to your dish, and it really brightens up everything. Sometimes I'll just use some leftover vegetables and use like a red bell pepper and chop it really fine and stick it into the filling for the sandwich, and it really brings a nice pop of color and a little bit of crunch, and I absolutely love that. So I think in terms of versatility, it's really a good vegetable. And I also like the fact that here in New York, you can get them all year round. Okay, so the onions are frying away. At this point, I'm going to add the potatoes. So the bell peppers don't take that long to cook, right? So you'll cook the onions and the potatoes first. At this, the starch always needs a little salt in order to be well seasoned. So when you add your starch, add a little bit of salt. I'm also going to add a little turmeric. Now remember, this spice blend that I'm going to be using, or this, whichever one you're using, already has a little bit of salt. So you have to be careful not to overdo the salt bit. Other than that, you really do not need to add any spices. And for this spice blend, you can roast it, you can grind it, and you can make it ahead and leave it in your fridge for months, and it doesn't go bad at all. So basically, it's just 10 minutes of hard work, but you can actually get flavorful stir fries for the next few months and don't have to worry about store-bought masalas. If you would like me to do a step-by-step recipe of how to make this spice blend, which is my proprietary blend that comes in a packet, let me know and I will do a step-by-step video of how to make it exactly so you can replicate it at home. Excuse me. You can see the onions and the potatoes are getting to know each other. If you want, you can add some cilantro just to brighten it up a little bit. We'll cover it. It smells really, really good in here. Let me know if you've been trying any of the things that I've been sharing with you. It would be really nice to see if you've done any of the dishes that we've discussed here. It would be nice to see how you brought your own twist to it. So here I have about 4 bell peppers, and try not to buy the very heavy ones because those the inside is really heavy, but you don't get too much of the meat. Oh, I have an uncut piece that escaped my knife somehow. Okay, so I'm gonna have to chop this guy up. While all of this is sauteing, I'm just gonna quickly finish chopping this little guy. There you go. These are about 4 bell peppers, and like I said, you can use a mix of different colors. It's all good. Let me give you a sneak peek into what it looks like. You just have to be careful that it does not stick to the bottom of the pan. That's the only fear, because this is not a non-stick pan and it's not a wok. So this dish is called karai, which means that it's made in an Indian wok. I'm not using it today, but karai technically means the deep wok, that the cast iron wok that we use in Indian cooking for all our temperings, etc. That's what this is. Okay. Now to this, I'm going to add all of my bell peppers. Give it a quick stir. At this point, I'm going to add my spice blend. Remember, this is coriander powder, 2 parts coriander powder, 1 part cumin seeds roasted and ground, and 1 part of fennel seeds roasted and ground. It also has some besan, which is the chickpea flour in it to give you some kind of thickness in case you want a gravy dish. It has fenugreek, it has paprika, it has everything. So literally I am not even going to use anything from here because this thing has everything. It also has salt. It also has dry mango powder, so it has a nice little kick. It adds a nice little kick to your dish. Give this a good stir while the oil is still hot. And then we're going to use some tomato puree and some water to deglaze the pan. And then we'll just let it simmer, right? Oh, the aromas right now that are emanating from this pot, I cannot even describe these. I wish I could share it with you on smell-o-vision or something. It's insanely aromatic because the spices are so fresh. They were just roasted and ground. And I just keep this box in my fridge just as it is, and then whenever I need it, I take it out. It's already labeled, so I know what I'm putting in. And that's exactly what I sell. So whatever I use in my kitchen is exactly what you get as well. Okay, so with a little bit of stirring, this is good now. I'm going to test for salt. Use a little bit of salt. Remember, the spice blend does have a little salt, but when you have potatoes in a dish, you don't want it to be bland. So you want to add a little bit extra salt just to accommodate for the starchiness of the potatoes. Now this is beginning to stick to the bottom, which is a good time to put in our tomato puree. This is good old tomato puree from the supermarket. If it's summertime, I prefer to use fresh tomatoes because they have a lot of color and juice in them. Right now, tomatoes are really, really bad. They have no taste, no color, and they don't really do much to the dish this time of year. So there you go. To this, I'm going to add just a teeny tiny bit of water so that all of this will come together, and I will pull it towards the middle of the pan because my pan is bigger than the circumference of the hot plate. I'll be right back with a little bit of water. Oh, there it is. I had it. Just going to put a little bit. It'll help to create some steam to cook the potatoes and also to deglaze the pan a little bit. Also, when you cook with water and cook with steam, it helps you to use less oil in your food. And that's a win, absolutely. Okay, so it's going to gradually deglaze everything. The potatoes are going to come together. The bell peppers are going to come together. And this will be a good dish. So you can serve it just as it is with Indian bread, the roti or the parathas. And you can save some of it to use as a sandwich filling. And for that, what you do is you take a potato masher and you mash the back of it. Oh, there you are. You mash the back of it, and you can use it as a sandwich filling. You can throw in some slices of cheese and then put it on a panini press or just grill it on a skillet, and it makes a really good sandwich. For me, on Tuesdays, what I try to do is I try to make one thing, but I try to use it in 2 different ways over the course of the week so that I'm in the kitchen less and less, right? So if I'm going to use this for dinner, then the sandwich is something that I will use for lunch. So this is Way to Glory. I will take a picture of the finished product and I will put it up on my Instagram feed, which is Queen's Curry Kitchen. You will also see the finished product picture on this page. As soon as it's done, I'll be able to do that. If you have any questions about what you saw, if you tried a recipe from Queen's Curry Kitchen and you like it, then definitely give us a shout out. Thank you all for supporting and loving this channel. I really appreciate your support. Okay, I hope you can see this is really coming together beautifully. See the pan getting deglazed because of the water that we. Oh, I forgot to mention this spice blend that we made also has garam masala. So literally, you don't need to add anything except a little turmeric and salt, and that's all you need to add to your vegetable dish. The potatoes are still raw, so it's going to take a while for it to get cooked in the steam. But I promise you, I will be putting in pictures from this Facebook Live. I'm just trying to keep this video short and sweet and not try to add a little bit more water so that there's more steam and it can cook beautifully. And once it comes together, I will actually garnish it with some pepper and it'll be ready to serve. So like always, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being with Queen's Curry Kitchen. If you like this video, feel free to share it with your friends and family. And do give these recipes a try. It's really not that hard. Indian food does not have to be rocket science. So give it a shot and let me know how it went. Thanks again for being with me today on the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.